What's up, my precious little pack, and welcome back to VEGA Conflict. Before we get started, I'd just like to say thank you for any and all support on the series, and I have something funny. Kixai gave all of the fleets different types of resistance: energy, projectile, and explosive. That wasn't much of a surprise after the last video, and I just want to point and laugh even more, because they added resistance. Okay. Here's the rest of that little Rancor fleet that was produced using the manifold level 1 missile times 3 per ship. And these are all instant Rancors. Again! Now, remember what I said last time? They did very little damage to certain targets, right? Their objective wasn't to destroy the target, but just to damage it. Yeah, it was. And these are all butt-naked ships. And you're about to watch them have a good time. And I mean a really good time. But the sole objective of this was simple. Why would I want to make a fleet that could be of no benefit to me? Well, it's not to be a benefit, it's more or less to point and laugh. Okay, so they gave them resistance. Here's the funny thing. The little Rancor babies can still damage them, and they're still doing around the same. And it says that they now resist the damage type. Now let's go into the battle. They took 3% of their total health. Well, around 3%, because in combat you saw it only took 2%. And that's just the insta-fleet, and that's 3% of the fleet's health. So theoretically, if you hit them 33 more times, you'd be able to destroy them. So all you'd need is 7 fleets of these, and the good thing about these, they're all only 8-hour production fleets. They don't take very long. They don't eat resources up. For low levels they might, but for a high level like me that has a few billion in resources, it's not going to be much. Second, I want to see the Bastion, the players, in combat. And I just finished farming up the daily mission, got jumped by a player, so kudos to this guy for being a coiner and actually having a full fleet of them. Mark upgraded to level 2, but this is just going to be so I can take a look at the ships. Now, I don't care for the repair time, again, because I couldn't care less of whether my ships get damaged or not. Because I'll just log out simply and do something else, but look at how they look. They're bigger than the Guardians, I can already tell you that, but they're just so freaking cute. Even I have to admit that. But yes, there we go. That's what I wanted, for it to pause during the fight. But just take a look at them. I still can't produce mine yet because I still have to do upgrades, but that doesn't mean that I can't get involved in PvP with a coiner due to them jumping me, and me being able to show them off that way. Overall, the aesthetic looks good. I actually like how they look. I thought they would look more like the Corsair, but when I take a close look at them, they don't look like the Corsair exactly. This one does, only due to the mark upgrade and the color pattern and where the colors are at for the StarCraft Corsair. However, remember that the color patterns for the Corsairs vary by player color, so in multiplayer they're not necessarily always going to be blue and gold just because of the player's color. It's going to be different unless you choose a green and blue. But overall they look good. I like how the thrusters look on them. And there's not much else. I'm waiting to see how their carrier turns out based on how these ones look. I want to see how each one looks, but I am impatiently going to wait 4 freaking months now, because that's all it's going to take. They'll be out during the 6th month of this year. Their carrier will be out in the 6th month. And I'm going to impatiently wait just to see that carrier. But those are the two main things I wanted to show you today. The little manifold rancors that could hit like a tiny freight train. And I have something for you low levels. I know that I've been meaning to get around to making a new set of videos to advance or something like that, and I will, and it'll take you from probably tier 3 to tier 6, and then from tier 6 to tier 7. You're going to make the same jump I did, and I'm going to prepare the farming fleet videos and stuff and test them myself. So I'm going to take the time to refit ships after I'm done with the next set of fittings I'm doing, and then I'll show you and share with you what they are. And as for the daily event that I was thinking of doing, it won't be daily, it'll be bi-weekly, and the target will be, I don't want to do cargo because sometimes they're too easy, and I don't want to do event fleets because they'd be too hard, you'd never win. The objective of the event would be this: you have to hit X number of fleets that's described by me in a certain, well, not a certain time frame, you just have to destroy them as quickly as possible. You'd only be allowed to use tier 1 ships, but you'd be able to fit them with anything you want. There would be no restriction on the fittings. You could use stuff that not everybody has access to, so you'd in turn gain an unfair advantage, but I mean, it's all tier 1 tech, so it's not going to help you in high-end combat. But I have a few fittings for low levels that you can get in planet to be able to farm up your cargo a little bit more easily. And this isn't actually for high-level players, this is for newbies. So first off, typically by the time that you realize what farming is, you've already been doing it for a while. And it involves hitting these little fleets. Well, first off, let's take a look at the level 23 helium. We have Hydra Missile 1, which you'll need. And then from a level 27 and above in-planet target, you'll get the other thing, which is the Metaphase. And I'm going to show you the fitting for the ship. Again, it is based off of this build, which is mostly researchable with the exception of the Metaphase. However, you can replace the shield with any of them you want, and it'll perform the exact same way. It'll just take more damage, and it might die a little bit more quickly in combat. This is the other fitting, and the objective of this is so that they'll never miss their target. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. I'm just going to let the two of them fight a level 27 fleet to show you what they can do. Well, a level 23 fleet. And I'm going to let them go full auto AI. Now both of them have the same maximum range arc and maximum range just because of the small fitting that each one has, the Polaron Ray plus the boosted optics. The Focused Optics 5. So the highest that you're going to have to do is be able to unlock the Focused Optics 5 and Polaron Ray 4 for this. Other than that, it's going to be using Hydra Missiles for area denial as well as Polaron Rays for spaced out damage. And as you can see, the Polaron Rays do exceptionally well. And Hydra Missiles, they hit within a general area behind the target. And as you can see, they do hit close enough that the explosion can take the enemy out. I would still recommend the Polaron Ray over it, except for enemies that are bunched up. The Hydra Missile could work because it would hit multiple enemies at once. Polaron Ray, though, is still going to be the fitting I would recommend for maximum single target damage. What are you doing? Go fight a bunch of free Rancors? Go right ahead. But that was that fitting. And now for the main part of the video that I was thinking of doing a while back. The ships that I wanted to talk about from, well, not the ships, in this case, the Squadrons and the wing, the damage control wing that I was talking about last time around. I have it actually pulled up right here. I'm going to talk over the level 1 stats, stuff like that, and I'm going to leave each of them in the description, and I have the requirements, the health, and everything like that. And it's the Sabotage Wing and the Damage Control Squadron. Now, these are actually pretty interesting and cool ideas. Again, they could be useful for everyone, and coiners, again, would have them for everybody else because they pay for everything. But I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to take a minute to read off the level 1 Sabotage Wing stats. Level 1, the Sabotage Wing has 200 hit points, has 60 explosive damage per second, has 10 seconds of flight time, has 1,500 meters per second speed, it has 8,500 meters maximum combat range, and it only weighs 500 tons. Its passive skill, upon damaging an enemy ship, the ship's damage is reduced by 2.5% for 2 seconds, and it does not stack with multiple wings attacking the same target, i.e., if you have 3 squadrons or 3 wings or more on a single ship, they won't be able to reduce it by 7%. The total will only be 2%, 2.5%. At max, the stats are 200 hit points, 90 explosive damage per second, 20 seconds flight time, 1,500 meters per second speed, 8,500 meters max combat range, and 1,300 tons max. The passive skill for them increases and the damage becomes 7.5%, so 7.5% for 5 seconds, and again, it does not stack. Alright, now let's jump back up to the requirements for the Sabotage Wing Level 1. Research time, 12 hours. Research requirements, the Fighter Wing Level 1. Research stat, the Weapons Lab. Now let's take a look at the Level 3. 24 hours to research, and the research requirements are Sabotage Wing 2 and Fighter Wing 3, and it's researched at the Weapons Lab. So that means it's researched at this little guy over here. Next up, we have the Damage Control Wing, and this one would be good in certain combat situations, not all of them, because you'd be, again, reducing your carrier's effective combat statistics. What do I mean by that? You'd be removing its damage. It'd be going from more of a combat carrier to a support carrier, and depending on how that's fitted, it may fail miserably. Now, Damage Control Squadron Level 1 stats are 250 hit points, 5 shield hit points restored per second, and in that case, it restores your shields unless they're empty. So if your ship doesn't have any shields, it can't do anything, or it could be a special or something like that it can restore them. It just depends. I haven't worked that exact idea out around how it would work with the shields. It has 10 seconds of flight time, 1,250 meters per second speed, with a 7,500 meters maximum combat range, and it weighs 400 tons. Passive skill for it, the target-friendly ship receives 1% damage reduction from all sources while shield health is restored. That effect does not stack, so you can't have all 4 squadrons on a single ship and they get a 4% reduction. That's just not what I was going for. Research time, 8 hours base. Research requirements, Fighter Squadron Level 1, and it's researched at the Ship Lab, which is this little guy up over here that I'm currently upgrading. I'll need to upgrade this, one more time and I'll be able to start my Altairian ship? I can't check from there. Can I check in here? Yes, I can. I need to upgrade it twice. Okay, so it's twice on one, 3, and twice on the other. That's going to be the longest one. Alright, let's take a look at the level 3 stats, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the video because that's what I want to talk about, but there's more to come in a separate video I'll make in just a little while. First off, the Damage Control Squadron Level 3, the stats. 250 hit points per 250 hit points base. Again, it restores 15 shield hit points per second, so it heals the shield for 15 per second, and it has a flight time of 20 seconds. Speed, 1,250 meters per second, with a 7,500 meters effective combat maximum combat range. Don't know why that was failed to type. And it only weighs 900 tons. Passive skill, the target friendly ship receives a 5% reduction in damage from all sources while having shield health restored. And again, the effect does not stack, so you can't have multiple squadrons on the single target, and it heals and gains a higher buff of 20%. No, it remains at 5. Now, research time, it takes 16 hours. Research requirements, Damage Control Squadron 2, Fighter Squadron 3. And it's researched at the Ship Lab, which is, again, this little guy up here. The reason it's researched at the Ship Lab is to divide it because it's not a weapon, it's a specific thing meant for a support role. And I'm going to go ahead and run through this stuff while this records and, well, while this edits. And I'm going to run through the stats, I'm going to alter a few things. Well, not alter, I'm going to ensure that everything is typed up properly. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set it up and get it uploaded for everybody. So you guys will finally have the video. Now, before I leave, I'd just like to ask, what are all of your thoughts on these types of ideas? I know that certain ones are good, and for the person I was talking to that I never replied back to, I did read your comment, and yeah, it was a little bit funny that I actually replied back so quickly. Typically, I don't reply in the first 24-hour time frame or 36-hour time frame that someone comments anymore, because I typically read the comment off, add it to a list, and then I reply back to them after I come up with a response after I've played in the game for a little bit longer. And currently there's not much going on in game, so I can't say much, but I need to get out the videos to be able to help players advance from a certain tier, and the tier that we're going to be focusing on jumping from will be tier 3 to tier 6, and I'm going to produce the fleets. I'm going to check the build times and everything like that, and I'm going to tell you how long it would take to make 7 fleets to be able to make a jump easily into a high tier. And then you're going to jump from that high tier, and the objective is to have you to at least tier 6 or tier 6.5. The goal will be tier 6.5 though. It just depends on exactly how it works out to be able to be there in under a 1-year time frame. So I'll have to work it out over the course of this year and make up the videos as I go along. The other thing is, after that, I want to take the videos that I'm making now and I want to add them, and I want to say, well, this fleet can help you advance into this group. So my main fleets, my Guardians, and my upcoming fleet that will be escorting the Guardian fleet, will be used mainly to advance in the Altairian faction, which is tier 7. So just to get to tier 7, you've got to get to tier 6.5, and I've kept the builds fairly low, and it'll only take me 2 months to build 2 fleets, mark, upgrade them, refits, everything like that. So in the course of 4 months, you'd be able to have 2 fleets to be able to farm with. But I'll make those videos separately and later on. But what did you all think of the ideas? How'd you like how the Bastion looked? Did it look a little bit too much like something from another game? Did it have a unique feel? Did it look odd to anybody? Along with that, what did you all think of the damage control squadron and the sabotage wing? The concept ideas, I need to state that very, very blatantly. They're concept ideas, they're not part of the game. But what do you all think of them? Feel free to say so and tell me what you think below in the comments section. I'll be keeping an eye on it like I always do. And I'll be replying back to the comments a little bit more frequently. I'll probably be replying back to them in a video. And I'm going to be getting into the habit of making recordings a little bit more regular. I know I keep saying that and it never happens. I really need to break that little habit right there. And I don't mean the habit of saying that I'm going to do it and then not doing it. I mean not doing it. I need to break that so I can actually do it. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. And everybody, if anything in this video helped you or you liked anything, feel free to leave a like. If you found the video helpful, or if you want to ask about a specific fitting I may have that I may not show off often enough, like what are my Guardians fitted with, say so below. That's going to be it, everybody. I'll see you later.